What's up, guys? It's Adam, aka Marv, and this is Marfoogle News, the only call-in show on YouTube.
Adam, we're not.
Okay, the only call-in show shot in 1080p.
Not that either.
With a custom call-in number?
Nope.
Chat on the screen. Okay, we are the only call-in show when lightning strikes the studio. The host goes, "What the fudge?" Ha! Gotcha, Dex.
Indeed.
I won this time. We'll be right back with the news right after this.
With grass, shrub everywhere, dried grass and shrub all around it, but nothing burns.
Oh my god. Hold on. Oh my god. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
What the fudge?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh my God! Something just happened on this podcast.
I don't think I'll ever live that down. Well. What is up, you guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Well, it's not the only call-in show, but it's pretty darn close to average. Today we have Dex with us. Dex, are you there? Dex is going to be screening all of our calls today. Dex, can we do a sound check?
Hello, Adam. I am here, and hello, Foogle Fam.
So, just to let you guys know, Dex can actually, he has a live connection with me. He can load up news directly to me. So when you guys call in at 224-400-MARF, and if you ever need the number again, it's scrolling down below, you can actually give him documents. You can give him all sorts of things, websites, even videos for us to look at when you get your 5 minutes. What I do ask is when we do get to the call-in portion that you keep to your 5 minutes. And if you have a video to share, consider that, you know, if you want to talk for 2 minutes and show 3 minutes of video, that you do that, because we're going to try to get in as many people as possible. First, we're going to cover the news. Obviously, there is a ton to go over. Dex, we have been kind of off for now over a week. If you guys did not know what happened, I had a near hypertensive crisis. I was 3 numbers away from a hypertensive crisis, and I had, well, basically still getting over walking pneumonia, which apparently I had for a minute, and I was working through it. They also said that they essentially told me that I need to work less. And a lot of people don't realize, they think that this show is, 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day or whatever it may end up being. But we actually do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, especially with our groups and everything else. So I am taking the advice. We are going to have kind of an intern type person come help and do some of the stuff that I have been doing. And Dex, of course, is a lot of help as well. Between the two of us, we run basically everything. So it's a lot of work. So I thank you guys for being patient over this last week, letting me recover. And yeah, can't say enough about that. As far as the lightning, yeah, that was bad. And honestly, the trolls made videos, and I thought they were funny because that was funny. Looking back, when you see that flash, just so people know, like, oh, it's just lightning, it actually struck about 14 feet from the house, and it actually put a board on, basically it put a board on fire. I thought about showing it, but the timestamp and everything else, if people know exactly which one it is, they pretty much get my location. So that was kind of a scary part. I almost made a mistake. Obviously, this job, you do not want, you just don't, yeah. I think you guys get my drift. Either way, I think that's the third time in my life that somewhere I've lived has been struck within like 15 feet. Today we're going to talk about, speaking of texts, and sometimes they do text you and they say, get, into inner shelter. We're going to talk about this, the EAS system going way off. And we're talking all over the world. We're not talking about just here in the US, in Canada, in Europe, in Norway, in Switzerland, in, I know I'm forgetting one here, in Australia, unless I said that again. I'm trying to think. There's another one. Germany. All of these different systems, and I don't know if you guys know this, but now they have this SMS system in almost all the countries. Japan actually had a very similar mess up last year, right after our false missile alert. They actually had a false missile alert. Now, the odds of that, after never having that ever happen before Hawaii, is pretty slim to none. So a lot of people believe that that was actually some sort of cover-up. And speaking of cover-ups, there's been a lot lately, and they have all kind of come out into the news. So we might briefly talk about that today, and I know we're going to be covering at least the Veritas Project Veritas, about the woman basically coming out and saying that she had Clinton, she had Mr. Epstein, but way before any of this kind of came out. So we see that mainstream does not want some of this stuff to come out, or at least, they hold it back until it absolutely has to. We talk about stuff, we talk about mainstream, and then you guys have your chance to interject and basically say, I disagree with this, here's why. And that's why this is so important. You guys get to say your piece or your opinion about what is being said. People say, oh, they cover mainstream media. Of course we do. So if there's somebody barking orders at the entire world and directing all of us in one direction, should we not be critical of that and looking at that and seeing what the hell is going on? Because a lot of that, you look back at it a year later, 2 years later, or 100 years later, you can see that they painted messages in broad daylight. So we're going to talk about that here in a second. All right. Already, thank you guys for coming in. 1,500 people already. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. All right. So we're going to hit the news. 3 American mothers and at least 6 of their children were, axed. And this was by cartels, apparently. It says harrowing new details have emerged in the slaughter of 3 Mormon mothers and 6 of their children after cartel gunmen opened fire on a grisly ambush in Mexico on Monday. So this is an absolutely horrible story. It says 9 members of the LeBaron family were attacked 8 miles apart on Monday while traveling in a convoy of 3 SUVs on a dirt road. Now, here's something that, I haven't seen all of the coverage on this, but one thing I was thinking of is, what if they thought those were police? If they're in 3 Tahoes or something like that. It says police confirmed that they have arrested a suspected drug lord after the killings, which left one vehicle torched and riddled with bullets. Now, if you think about it, was this on purpose? Do you think that they were going after these families, or do you think that they thought that those were undercovers, or do you think that they thought they were, border patrol? I don't know the full story, but it sounds like they had 3 SUVs in a convoy, and, obviously the cartel has done this. Now, I'm not trying to take away, this is horrible, but it would be messed up, though, if they painted this as they purposely went after the families, when in reality, this was supposed to be a fight with police, or they thought it was a fight with police. Either way, they shouldn't be shooting at cops or this or that. But it would show you how news kind of twists things to kind of tug at your heartstrings. Either way, these are children. These are people. Obviously, something else has to be done. My opinion is that they need to beef up stuff down there. I mean, I don't understand why people think, why people are so against some of the things that we're doing down there. I understand that it's not perfect, but we need to constantly improve it. There's tons and tons of smart people working in that sector. Maybe give them some more funding, let them do what they need to do to stop all this craziness. If you look at Juarez and some of the places on the other side of the border, I mean, it's insane. Yeah, you walk down the street and you see a head, and we're talking about, minus the body. So there's a lot of things going on down closer to the border. Anybody who lives on the border, they've all emailed me, said, these guys come over, they're bad at hombres, and it's absolutely horrible. Some people, locals kind of know what tattoos to look for and don't say a word to those people. Don't even make eye contact. Don't look at them, because these guys are no joke, like serious. So this is a really horrible story. So I guess we'll start there, and then we'll get into the better, more happier stuff. This is a tweet. It says, "This is the time for Mexico, with the help of the United States, to wage conflict on the drug cartels and wipe them off the face of Earth. We merely await a call from your great new president." Now, Dex, what do you think he meant by this this tweet here?
Well, it's rather interesting to see him say this. Obviously, the W word there, or the conflict as we call it, that's a pretty strong statement in all caps from our president, right? That's a big deal. The other interesting thing that's going on here is, and I've been following a little bit of this. Earlier this year, we learned that Mexico was rolling out a national guard, and they were doing it because their police was overwhelmed by the cartels, and they were using military to help support the police, and that was causing more problems because the military isn't trained to deal with civilian issues that way. So they claimed they were going to roll out this National Guard, and the National Guard was actually ended up being made up of mostly military and some police experts in there. But then just recently they've been waiting. I guess we heard throughout the year they were waiting to train the National Guard, and now recently, I think in the end of the summer or back in September, they actually signed an agreement with the UN, and the UN now manages, trains, but has more authority than just training that National Guard. Something like 80 to 100,000 troops in Mexico under the National Guard, being controlled by the United Nations. Now, these troops are being deployed into the civilian areas to fight the cartel or deal with the cartel. And to be honest, those troops are probably very much in location to the borders. So put that, all into perspective. I don't know that what ET is saying right here is in direct conflict with the UN troops, but we know that these UN-led National Guards from Mexico are going after the cartel areas. They're going to be deployed, if they aren't already, in border areas. So what does that mean? We've got, kind of makes you say, we've got UN-controlled, National Guard on the other side of the border, and now we're talking about waging war either with them or beside them, or I don't know if it's against. I wouldn't think it's against them, because he's definitely talking about the cartels.
Well, so everybody talked about. I'm trying to remember who put that video out. Do you remember, Dex, last week or a week and a half ago? There was a video out, and the woman, I believe it was a woman that went into a public facility, and the security guard said, "Do not film me." And she says, "I have a right to. This is this such and such building." And she goes, "No, it's not. The UN came in and took over as of, noon on Sunday or whatever. And it is not part of the United States." Do you remember what state that was in? I'm sure people in the chat will be able to, end up pounding that through.
Yeah, that state. But we begin to report after report after report about, more and more UN vehicles, sightings, deployments here, even inside the states. But, that's a large, set of troops that are on the other side of the border that are actually being managed now and controlled, in effect, by the UN.
Yeah, no, I just a lot of these things. And then, probably a month and a half ago, we got reports and pictures of UN vehicles in Maryland, in Pennsylvania, and in Texas, which I thought was pretty wild, considering, Texas is kind of its own lone star, if you'll say. So lots of really weird stuff going on with the UN.
And everyone's saying Utah in comments.
Utah. Okay. So it was a Utah building, and they ended up... what kind of building was it, though? The woman walked in thinking it was one thing, and then when they took it over, was it like a social security office or something, or it was an immigration place? I can't remember what it was. But anyways, if you want the answers, it will be in the chat right here. Everybody's answering for you guys. Again, this was a legit time where they actually take it over. It's international territory. So even if it's in the middle of, in Dallas, Texas, if it has, or let's say Utah, even if it's in right smack dab in the middle of Utah, it is no longer following the same laws and everything else that the United States Constitution does, because it's international land. I mean, it's literally like the episode of Family Guy, the Pretoria. It's not a part of the United States when the UN has control of that building, sort of like an embassy, that kind of thing. So it's just really, really weird stuff. Clan Mama says Salt Palace Convention Center. I think, I don't know if that's a Salt Palace public building. Somebody else says. Either way, I mean, this is some weird stuff. The reason why people fear UN is some people think that, this whole new world order is coming and that the UN might play a part of this. Now, got a couple comments here. Prepper Ilea says, hypothetically, quote, building a wall would prevent Americans from migrating south during a catastrophic event such as Yellowstone eruption. Just a thought, much love. So there's a whole group of people that actually are, saying that that he is a puppet. He's building this wall to kind of trap us in. There's several movies with kind of some predictive programming in that section. There's the Nicolas Cage movie. I'm trying to remember the name of that one, but it shows the future, and there's drones flying over the United States. It's after nuclear blasts in the end. Well, I shouldn't ruin it for you guys, but it's a Nicolas Cage film. Basically, you find out that they were telling us there were nuclear blasts, and it was actually, nothing was radiated, and that wall trapped us in, and these walls kind of trapped everybody in, and they were controlling everybody. So there's some weird stuff out there about that theory as well. If you feel obliged to call in and talk about that, you may well do so. Thank you, Prepper Ilea. And thank you for being, around for so long. Tammy Farrell says, let's see here. Can't read it. Blessings to Foogle Fam and baby Foogle. Well, thank you, Tammy. I appreciate that. Casey Shelton, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You can always write something with that. Captain Kirk, I have to say I'm pretty good on outer body experiences and traveling from my body, but a couple nights ago, there has been this presence. I don't know, Captain Kirk. I would love to have you call in and explain what you mean. Mark Ludwig, thank you. I appreciate that. You actually did 2 in a row. You can actually write something, and it looks like you did. Hey, Foogle Fam, love the show. Keep up the good work. Always tuning in. Thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of people, I guess we have been off for a week. Roger Porath, thank you. I appreciate that. Jana Mania says, hey, Adam, hey, fam, love and prayers to all. Never give up. Stand strong in Jesus. That reminds me, Lisa Crane Mikesell says Michigan. I think that's whoop whoop or fire. Cindy Moore, much love. Thank you. Alex Beckbow, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for all your support, guys. Jenny Hobson, thank you for following me on Twitter. As always, if you subscribe, you will get a shout out during the show. Calvin Vokes, Mortuary Manor, rest in peace. Giselle Krippner, Stacy Smith, John Moeller, Kadeem Jima, Hari74, How Yeah, Angeline in the Woods, Michelle Smith. Thank you guys for all subscribing in the last few minutes. And then I do have a lot of different thank yous to say. I don't have the list of people because I actually have multiple things in the back. We might need to get a new background here in a minute. But this was made, I know it's backwards. And I don't have the name. I've got paintings. I've got a whole list of people that I need to thank you. I just stopped by the P.O. box and got a bunch of art. And all of, like I said, if you make art, it's going on the background of the stage. We've got paintings. We've got sculptures. We've got painted all sorts of things. And then Foogle Family. Ba-bam! I'm going to fix the backwardsness of the show, but this was cool. One thing, I'm like really, really super happy with this, but I am just not impressed with the U.S. Postal Service. This came and I could see like the little thing in the middle. I love it. I absolutely enjoy this so much, along with the wood cross, which this is actually really cool. They actually hand did this. Put lights in it and everything. They know my style. But yeah, the Postal Service, if you're going to send paintings, just make sure to maybe put a extra layer of bubble wrap on it. Bam. So that's to add. I've gotten many things. Like this is probably one of my favorite. The R2-D2 made out of car parts. That is freaking cool. You can put stuff in it. That was from RTP. You guys are awesome. Okay, so to continue on, just absolute craziness right now. U.S. Army to test 50 kilowatt laser weapons that incinerates drones, helicopters, planes, and missiles. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this. We've got a lot of news to cover, but this is just further proof. We've covered this over the last... we've covered this over the last year and a half about them talking about them equipping them to Navy ships, about them actually using them in demonstrations. It says laser chews through 50 kilowatts of power, enough to power 3 homes. Destroys drones, helicopters, and incoming missiles. Deploying in 2022, Stryker is an armored all-terrain assault vehicle in about 8 wheels. So essentially, they're putting these on the Strykers. They're also putting them on tanks. They are also putting them on Navy ships. So we are actually, this is like straight out of Star Wars. And now that we have all of these advanced flying machines, we're talking about hypersonic. We're talking about Japan having UFO-looking things that we've covered. We are literally getting to Star Wars. This is nuts. These are laser beams. And the craziest part is very soon, this is just something I thought was crazy. Very soon, there's actually the kind of a machine gun type one that they've tested. It literally looks like something out of Star Wars, only without the sound effect. It's like pew, pew, pew. You can see it actually going like a bullet. This is nuts. I'm just hoping for a lightsaber, but I think that's, we're not there yet. But, how do you stop it, I guess? I guess you could you could make it like one of those tasers that has it all on the sides. Just have the laser on the side, and then anything you touch, it would kind of sizzle through. I don't know. Am I messed up for wanting a lightsaber? Ultimate home protection by the Force. U.S. may now may keep some troops in Raya. Now, of course, I can't say this country name because it's one of the filtered words. But this is obviously, I think that there's going to be a lot more troops than we think. This is all over oil stuff. I think that there's lots of operations going on over there. I have no idea who actually did these drones, this and that. Sometimes a lot of things happen, so they have an excuse to actually bring out technology or start some sort of conflict. It says the U.S. may leave some forces in Syria to secure oil fields and make sure they don't fall into the hands of a resurgent Islamic state. Defense Secretary Mark Esper said Monday, even though President DT, Commander-in-Chief, has insisted he is pulling troops out of the country and getting out of, quote, endless conflicts. And of course, he says the W word. So we will see about that. If you have an opinion about that, give us a call at 224-400-MARF. I would love to hear from you. Definitely some pretty crazy things going on here. And honestly, I think that there's way more going on over there. Israeli News Live, great channel to watch. In fact, yesterday, I believe, he covered 2 explosions. One was there, I believe, and one in the other country. These are things that our news just doesn't cover. Whereas Stephen Benoon actually does. Parasitic worms found in woman's eye as scientists worm of emerging disease. A parasitic worm found in cattle has been discovered in a woman's eye. It says what scientists have warned may be an emerging zoonotic disease in the U.S. So these are the creepy things. I do not like the diseases, especially with all the things we've talked about as far as kind of the scare of any kind of pandemic. Now, people say that we try to scare people here, or this is fear porn. No, this is us knowing what's up. First off, they basically cleared the money for $2.8 billion. If you have not followed this, I should have a whiteboard up with all of the episodes referencing some of these more important things, because we went over the fact, we told you, smallpox is an eradicated disease or virus, I guess. No, right? Dex, do you know? Is it a virus, disease? It's it's
a disease. It's been eradicated by use of the venations, and it's basically, for all practical purposes, gone.
Yes. And what they did is the World Health Organization put 2 places in the entire world in charge of keeping it safe. They had little vials of it, right? Or at least they thought. We covered the fact that there was actually a 3rd location that was like buried. It was an old lab and they were moving stuff and they accidentally found vials of it, right? So they quickly got rid of it, right? But there was 2 places. One was in Russia. I think it was Vladivostok or something like that. Vladivostok, Russia, it was a lab. And then the other place is in Atlanta, the Atlanta CDC, where, of course, we had the famous Timothy Cunningham disappearance. He actually worked there, worked in that office, actually sat next to it at one point, which I might actually talk about in a future video. And then disappeared and told his neighbors to delete his phone number, all this weird stuff. And then we had, just a few weeks ago, within 1 week of the U.S. clearing $2.8 billion for venations against smallpox, one of the 2 labs that contains the eradicated disease blew up. There are no coincidences in my opinion. Sorry. I just don't believe they're going to spend $2.8 billion valuable dollars in that could go to fix roads or could go into a politician's pocket for a venation or a batch of venations that go towards something that's not an issue, unless it is an issue or it will be an issue. You see what I'm saying? And they say to us, hey, this is outbreak central. You guys all have to get this thing. Then, of course, you want to go get that venation. Then all of a sudden you're injecting yourself with whatever they want you to because you're afraid of getting what everybody else has. Smallpox is a horrible thing, by the way. So that's why when things like this pop up, we cover it and we talk about it. It says the 68-year-old woman is the second human to have become infected by the parasite. She was jogging on a trail near the coast in California in March 2018 when she ran around a corner into a swarm of flies, according to a case report in the journal Clinical Infectious Diseases. So she ran into and got a fly in her eye, and now she's got some sort of parasitic worm in her eye. That's just crazy. I think everyone's been in that position where a gnat or something goes in your eye and you don't even think about it. You blink and you try to get it out. Imagine waking up one morning with the worm coming out of your eye. It's not too fun, I'm sure. ISIS, and of course I cannot say that, but it says tells followers to set forest fires in US and Europe. So as if we didn't have enough fires in California, they are actually telling their followers to do this. Kind of makes you think. Maybe they need to take some of the pressure off of PG&E. I don't know. This is absolutely horrible. It says a media outlet affiliated with ISIS has been instructing the group's radical adherents to set forest fires in the United States and Europe and to cause mass ecological disasters, according to posts on an internet forum dedicated to the T group. At least 4 propaganda posters that have appeared on pro-ISIS, Koreash media outlet, have urged followers to, quote, ignite fires as part of an ongoing jihad against America and its allies. No fun. This is something I guarantee you, people in California, this is going to be a thing. Now that they've said it, within the next couple of weeks, we're probably going to hear about it. Who knows if it's really going to happen or if it's just them saying it's going to be them. If you have an opinion about it, give us a call at 2244-00-MARF. O'Keefe bombshell. ABC host says network spiked Epstein story in 2016. This is what I'm talking about. So there was a hot mic. Now, Dex, I'm going to pull you in here. There was a hot mic with this lady. She was on set. She was a newscaster, correct?
Yeah, she's an anchor, and she was talking presumably to a producer on the set, but they weren't live. And apparently the mic was still recording, or the video, for that matter, was still recording while she was having this conversation.
And Project Veritas actually pulled that video, or basically somebody got a hold of that video, got it to Project Veritas, and then ended up putting it out on their channel. So she ended up coming out and saying a statement today, essentially saying that things, get kind of dropped off the drawing board. Sometimes they have to go by the certain standards and whatever else. It says 3 years ago during the 2016 presidential election, ABC spiked an expose into convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and his network of connections to powerful men, including Bill Clinton. That's the bombshell scoop by investigative journalist James O'Keefe. In a hot mic video leaked to O'Keefe, 2020 co-anchor Amy Robach can be heard angrily lamenting the fact that ABC killed the story. So this is what I'm talking about. She had a story on it. She was essentially angry. This is going to be one of the biggest stories ever. It was going to have her name on it. If you're a reporter and you bust out a story like that, I mean, you're in history, right? It says, regarding alleged victim Virginia Roberts, Robach complained to an off-camera ABC staffer, says, quote, talking about Virginia Roberts, told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. It says, we convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. So she had evidence against Clinton, against all these people, and they axed it. Well, of course they did, because they're not going to bust out on a frickin', I mean, come on now. Now, the video is by Project Veritas. I have never talked to these gentlemen. I love their channel. If you have not seen their channel, go ahead over to Project Veritas. I have had really bad luck with people I don't think are going to copyright me, and they do. Make sure to go over there and check the actual original video that got leaked. I assume these guys are awesome. They would want everybody to share it, but just being safe, go over and watch that when you get a chance. Basically, I read you the manuscript of what she said. Again, this woman was going to be at the top of one of the biggest stories ever, but it surrounded this rich, powerful man that was basically untouchable. So they didn't do anything about it. 3 years or 2 years, actually, yeah, 3 years before all of this stuff went down. Obviously, and like I said, until it was too big, when they couldn't not cover it, that's when they started covering this stuff. This guy is a sicko. By the way, I want to shout out to We Are Change. I watch every once in a while. The last video I saw before this last one I just saw was the one where they were out. The host was actually outside an explosion that happened. And they didn't know what it was. It ended up being a gas explosion, but they thought it was a tea attack. And they actually went illegally onto Epstein Island. And obviously, they actually went on foot. And they actually had a boat take them there. So if you want some interesting footage, check that out. Because we've all seen the drone footage. They actually went on the island, went into offices, opened doors. Everything was open. A lot of weirdness around the fact that Epstein had a freaking ambulance on the island. They opened the door and looked inside. Everything was being kept perfectly clean. It's so this guy's dead. And so what did he set up a fund for that island to be maintained forever? I mean, this is super weird. Does he have family that he's giving it to? They never talk about that kind of stuff. You don't actually really hear about any of his kin. Where did his money go? It's just all a bunch of weirdness. But again, they covered it up. Cover-ups all over the place. Okay, so this is a big deal. And here in a second, we're going to talk about the alerts all over the world again. Earth's warmest or hottest October ever recorded. And that's not, Texas's hottest October. That's not the US's hottest October. That's the Earth's hottest recorded ever October. It says, last month merely tied for the world's third warmest October in history. 2016 is still on track to be the hottest year on record. Federal blah, blah, blah. Wait a second. Earth's warm October, not record. 2016 likely record hot. I think we got the wrong one, actually. Sorry. We just set the hottest October. But this is the wrong story. Whoops. So let me pull this up. Bam. Yes, so October was hottest in Earth's recorded history. This is something to be said about this. Okay, so first off, we've had all of these animal die-offs. We've got the world going just absolutely nuts. We have, all the countries in turmoil. We've got UN all over the place. We've got them telling us that we have 12 years to fix our climate, or otherwise we're all going to die. You've got the richest men in the world starting freaking space governments and actually setting up the system. So half of us really want to say they're just trying to scare us and it's all distraction and nothing's actually happening. And then the other half are saying, those people are kind of in a delusion that something, will never happen to Earth. I don't know. To be honest, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I just hope that everybody keeps an open mind, because people say, there's not everybody knows all the information, but I know that a lot of people either say climate change is a hoax, or they say, it's not what they say, or they're totally behind it. You don't have to be backing Greta Thunberg to actually know that the Earth is changing. One thing that, they say is that humans have caused climate change and all this stuff. A lot of people believe that it's actually cosmic rays that are changing the Earth and that this is a natural cycle. But what if that natural cycle will make it unlivable on Earth for us, at least for a period of time? I have been tweeting out certain things, like if you guys watch the movie from 2004, The Day After Tomorrow, if you guys don't remember that one, go back and actually check it out. Some people commented that they watch it every time it's on TV, or, you know, they check it out every time it's on. That movie actually has some stuff that, you know, you didn't think about, but they were talking about this back in 2004, but they paint the scenario of essentially climate change happening just super quick, and within like a week they're like, oh, this is supposed to happen in years, and now it's like a week. What's really weird is I'm putting some stuff together. They keep saying in all of these weird weather phenomenon, weird political statements, the day after tomorrow. There's a lot of predictive programming now literally talking about the day after tomorrow regarding weather. And you go back to the day after tomorrow and it shows this scene, which is almost like it's like you fast forward 15 years and they're actually saying this stuff. So I hope that people keep an open mind. Just because you don't believe one side, try to look at both sides and try to see, you know, where they're kind of pushing you off, where they're not trying to let you see. It looks like they're trying to veer off asteroids. They are trying to start space races, and these are the richest, most powerful men in the world. They're starting governments in the sky. They are making bunkers underneath their houses, their homes, in all their different locations that they own homes in. That's the weird thing, because I've told you we have friends that make bunkers. And they're going crazy. The business for bunkers has gone way up. And these are the people that are at the Bilderberg Group that are making these bunkers. These are the people at the Bilderberg Group that are actually, being a part of this space race thing. Very, very powerful people. So why would they do that if they're, really just doing it to scare us or this or that? I just hope that people actually look at what's going on. What if the trails and all the stuff that's in the sky is because we screwed up something years ago, or they saw this coming, they're trying to stop it, and it made it worse? Who knows? Maybe they made it worse, but now they can't stop, because if they stop, it will just change everything, in a couple of days. It all comes down to the fact, like, do you believe that they are actually engineering things and all of that? So it's a huge rabbit hole. We might cover up different, cover stuff and look into the cover-ups that are going on right now. It's just a lot of weird stuff. It says last month was the hottest October on record globally, with temperatures well above average in many regions, according to European Union scientists. October's 2019 global surface air temperature was 0.69 Celsius, warmer than the average between 1981 and 2010. The Copernicus Climate Change Service said it narrowly edged out October 2015 as the hottest on record. So again, I'm not agreeing with either side. I am still looking down tons and tons of rabbit holes in this. If you have an opinion on it, please give us a call at 224-400-MARF. I would love to hear it.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah.
I have breaking news, if you'd like me to cover that real quick. It's
absolutely.
Short, but it's pretty situational. So there's an apparent... it's been reported by a couple of main outlets, so we know that the reports are true, that the military in Amsterdam has been called to a potential H-jack of an airplane at Schiphol, I believe is how you pronounce it, airport. And then the alleged information I'm getting is that there's potentially 3 people with knives. And the other thing I heard allegedly was that it may have happened during the boarding process, and apparently the pilot, this is also being reported by non-mainstream, had pressed the H-jack button, which signaled alert. And there may be 20-something people on the plane. So that's the current information. It's just unfolding. It started in the middle of the show, and we'll see more. Keep your eyes open.
Well, so wait. You're
okay?
saying that they possibly could have a plane?
It sounds to me like the military has been deployed to the airport to check in on it. I've read that there is no contact with the pilot. I've read that there was potentially 3 people with knives, and I've read that it was during the boarding process. So that's as much as I know. The only things that I've seen confirmed by major outlets is that the military was deployed to investigate a potential H-jack in progress.
Holy crap. So, and you know how the ISIS leader said to set fires, forest fires?
Yes.
What if that was code? What if that was like, hey, do this mission or whatever? Obviously, in 9/11, September 2001, some things happened that were pretty nuts. I've been telling you guys, so I might as well just talk about it now. This is breaking news. So if you didn't hear what Dex said, apparently a situation on a plane, 3 men with knives, possibly. We don't know anything yet. But they were on board of a plane. They do not have contact with the pilot. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So,
and it was on the ground at the Schiphol airport, which is in Amsterdam.
So they didn't get up in the sky then?
No, it appears from the what I've read that it was during the boarding process, and there may have been 20 plus 27 or more passengers had gotten on the plane. And just they may have tried to take it over. That's allegedly what I'm hearing.
So Nightshade says, is the plane still on the ground or in there? We don't know that yet. It looks like it was still on the ground. But what if this is a massive operation? What if stuff is going on at multiple different airports? This is breaking news like within... we got to this just within a few minutes. In fact... I never.
Yeah, a lot of people in comments had actually alerted us to it, and I went and investigated, found that it was, and confirmed it.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So I'm gonna actually tweet this out live. Ship hole situation. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at Marfoogle. Same spelling as the pretty easy at MARFOOGLE. I'm going to put looks as if military has been called to Amsterdam and plane appears to be grounded and never left. And I want to make sure I don't scare anybody here.
Even on the ground, it may still be a hostage situation.
Well, that would be horrible. Right. And that doesn't mean that they couldn't take off too. I mean, they could, if they're trained pilots, they could actually take off if they didn't get there in time. But hopefully everything goes well. You heard it here first, or actually most of you heard it somewhere else first, and you told us. So I heard it here first. So I guess there's that. Thank you, Dex. I appreciate that. Sure. Let's see here. Okay. So I did want to cover this real quick. I covered the Amy Robach thing, but I did not cover her reply. So they actually replied to Project Veritas. This is the Amy Robach statement. I'll just read this real quick. As a journalist, as the Epstein story continued to unfold last summer, I was caught in a private moment of frustration. I was upset that an important interview I had conducted with Virginia Roberts didn't air because we could not obtain sufficient collaborating evidence to meet ABC's editorial standards about her allegations. My comments about Prince Andrew and her allegation that she had seen Bill Clinton on Epstein's private island were in reference to what Virginia Roberts said in that interview in 2015. I was referencing her allegations, not what ABC's had verified through our reporting. The interview itself, while I was disappointed it didn't air, didn't meet our standards. In the years since, no one has ever told me or the team to stop reporting on Jeffrey EpiPen, and we have continued to aggressively pursue this important story. Man, so she came back. When I first heard it, I thought, oh, she should be fired by now, but I didn't know that it was somebody else that grabbed that tape and brought it. Moscow.
Adam.
Yes.
Hang on. I'm sorry. I just want to give you another quick update.
Okay.
So 3 things are actually happening at the same time. And I just confirmed them from a couple of news outlets. In Italy, at an airport, an evacuation for a boomer.
Oh my God.
I can't read the article. It's in Italian, but I did confirm it's there. And then a train in, where's this train? Denderlew train. It's in Europe, and it is being evacuated and cleaned for a potential THREX contamination.
Okay.
All happening at the same time. So 3 things across Europe, same time.
Oh my God. Okay, so you know what? This is really creeping me out, you guys, because this is them telling set forest fires across U.S. and Europe, and all of a sudden we have all of these things going off right now. Italy, you said that was a boomer situation?
Yeah, the evacuation of the airport in Italy is due to a boomer threat, and they're looking at that. And then the one on the train being stopped is a white powder that's thought to be the ANTH, or the, I don't know if we can say that word, but you know.
Anthrax? We can say that.
Yeah. Okay, anthrax. Sorry.
Holy crap. I have a bad feeling. My stomach sunk when you said 3 events at one time. Okay, anthrax alarm in station Dunderloo on a train.
Yeah, that's in Belgium, I believe. Dunderloo. Look that up. And the other one is in Milan, Italy.
Okay, just to show you full screen, these are all going on at concurrent times here. We have breaking news of 3 different events going on across Europe. We did just cover that this was something that was said. Let's see here. This is not good. This was just said yesterday. The ISIS tells followers to set forest fires in U.S. and Europe. I don't know if this was code. FF? I don't know. This is just... this is some pretty weird stuff here. And all of a sudden we have an event in Italy. We have an anthrax scare in Belgium. We have a plane situation in Amsterdam. So this is station Dunderloo, and this is not even in English yet on this one. Okay. So I guess let's I have a feeling like something, we're going to catch another event, little stuff all over the place. I sure hope we don't. We've been talking about this kind of stuff, and I am praying that everybody everywhere is going to be okay. Mikkel Slammin, that's exactly what I was kind of alluding to. Everybody's kind of alluding to what I was alluding to. Katzen Bureau, the Fed is injecting between $45 and $120 billion in the repo market every night since 17th of October to keep the bank's liquidity alive. So Katzen Bureau, I guess the point you're kind of getting at is, I'm wondering are you saying that we are kind of at the edge of collapse? There's a lot of people saying that right now. In this space. Michelle Mangioliano, thank you guys for supporting. Thomas Bryan, not as rich as Joe Dirt, but they won't be long before the dollar disappears and Bitcoin is the only currency. Just saying. I sure hope not, Thomas. I really do. Power goes off, we'll all be screwed. Stargazer, appreciate Marf, Dex, and the great mods. Thanks everyone for all your work. Thank you. Appreciate that, Stargazer. And thank you guys for supporting. We are trying to bring another kind of level to this. We want to have this be a... we want to have multiple people on during the day. There's a lot of steps that go into actually making that a real thing, and we want to make sure that we do it right. But us in our space, it's getting really hard. We really need to do things correctly. There's a lot of things that you run into as you get bigger and bigger. Prosperous Music says this is not a conspiracy. The biotech companies are doing their biological, genetically created humanoid built out in space. What laws do they have in space? There's no limits to what they are doing. I have been following the money. That was Prosperous Music. Yvette Barry, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It says, thank you, Marf, for all you do. Glad you're back. Stay healthy. I appreciate that more than you know. Cats and Bureau says, hello, Adam. I love this time slot watching from Germany. Please look up the Fed repo market. It's important not only for the U.S., keep up the good work. Cats and Bureau, if you are in Germany or any European place, if you are European watching this, if you guys have kind of an inside scoop from your local news, not so much in Germany, but anywhere, please let us know in chat, and please let us pass on the news. Somebody says something, Fox saying crew and passengers safe and off the plane. So that's one event that looks like it was taken care of. So the Amsterdam plane situation with 3 men and knives looks like it might have been resolved. And then, of course, you have the train station in Dunderloo having an anthrax scare. And then, of course, Italy had a boom scare, evacuating folks to clear a boom. All right, moving on. We're going to continue going. Right. Oh, okay. So we actually got this. Moscow threatens response against Norwegian radar near Russian border. Okay, so these are all things that are going on. So a Norwegian actually sent me a couple messages. In fact, there was multiple. One gentleman, I didn't know if he was actually in Norway, talking about his EIS system. Another couple of people ended up saying that they were getting a ton of EIS alerts in Norway. So I thought that was a pretty weird coincidence that all of these came at the same time. This says Moscow threatens response against Norwegian radar near Russian border. This is, of course, a few months ago, so we added this in for kind of reference. It says, we presume... Let's see here. I wanted to make sure I got the right part of this. So there's been tensions between Norway and Moscow. There's been a lot of different things going on the borders of each. And the Norwegians have actually, they're very good about telling their people different things. I am part Norwegian, and actually a good chunk of my ancestors and my family live in Norway, own land in Norway. In fact, we're part of history in Norway. We're part of, WW1 history, WW2 history. So I know from personal experience that we're actually trying to reach out to some of the family members. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in Norway, and I have no idea, but I do know that they actually prepare Norwegian folks as citizens way better for an event. Here's the thing: if they knew for sure, like we're going to get some sort of thing that happens in 3 weeks from now, we would not be told until last minute or until after it happens. In Norway, they would actually set them up. They would give them each, they would spend whatever it took to prepare them for it. That is one awesome thing about Norway, is they'll actually tell their people, hey, this is what's up, and you might want to be prepared. So this is kind of really creepy for me, especially knowing that a good chunk of my family's over there. They have said comments in the last year that it's gotten increasingly weirder with the government helping them, doing all these weird things. It says, it seems obvious to me that military preparations near Russian or any other borders cannot be ignored by our other countries, Zarakova said when asked about the new Globus radar currently being installed in Vardo. Again, they are preparing for some sort of interaction. Russia sent 10 submarines towards HMS Queen Elizabeth. The Royal Navy is ready for 10 heavily armed Russian submarines that are heading towards North Atlanta, where aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth is currently deployed. Norway said it discovered 10 submarines from the Russian Northern Fleet heading towards the Atlantic Ocean, in the biggest such operation since the Cold War. It says the flotilla of subs, including boats armed with nuclear weapons, mines, ballistic missiles, and torpedoes, have been deployed on a mission that will see them skirt UK territorial waters and head for America. They left bases on the Arctic Kola Peninsula a few days ago, passing close to North Scotland. It is the largest underwater operation launched by a Russian leader since the end of the Cold Conflict was signed off by President Vladimir Putin. Defense analyst Bruce Jones said the flotilla was a significant defense challenge to the UK as well as the US and NATO. He said it shows up how numbers of our warships have been drastically reduced and our warning systems across the North Atlantic have been degraded. It says this is a very serious development indeed. However, the Ministry of Defense spokesperson said the UK takes appropriate measures and action to ensure the integrity of our waters and to protect our nation's interests. The Royal Navy is always ready to safeguard our waters. The Royal Navy is renowned for its anti-submarine warfare, ASW expertise, and able to outwit the U.S. and foil a simulated submarine attack on HMS Queen Elizabeth during Westland 19, an ongoing 3-month war games exercise in the North Atlantic off the coast of the USA and Canada, featuring the UK and US allies. So this is a... Dex, what do you think about this?
Well, Adam, Norway's really critical from an ally perspective. If you actually were to go to Google Maps right now, pull up and just search for Norway, so it outlines the country, and you go to the very top corner and zoom in, there's a little tiny island there, and that island is called, let me see the name of it, I can't remember, it's Vardo, I believe, Vardo. This is where we just deployed this year a U.S.-funded radar installation. Now, when you zoom back out of that location and you see where you are at Norway, that is literally on Russia's back door. I mean, it's like putting, it would be like Russia putting in a big installation in Cuba, right? Which we wouldn't like. And, so you can see why the relationship we have with Norway and why Norway has a lot of tension with Russia, because everything that comes out of Russia up there near the Barents Sea is going right by them. They're picking it up. They're seeing it all. They're informing us, and they're probably one of the first to be hit, which is why they prepare so much. But if you were to zoom all the way into the top right corner, there's a little tiny island called Vardo, and where the tension was built. Some of the tension was built this year with us deploying or funding a radar installation.
I'm actually gonna. I want to see this for the. Is it? It's VORDO.
It is VA. Sorry, I lost my screen. I think it's VARDO. Vardo. It's the name of the island.
Let's see here.
Make sure it comes up for you. Search.
Wow.
Yeah, Vardo, Norway. Yeah, you'll see that little, and then back out of it, and then see where you are in relationship to Russia.
So this is the little island. Wow, it got all digitalized. So this is the island. Okay, and then let's see here. As we zoom out, let's see here. There's the sea. I'm like way zoomed in. I didn't realize how. Ah. If it ever loads. There we go. Should do it now. Or not.
And we've heard a lot of conflict this year, Adam, and investment, I guess, in military into the Arctic up north, and a lot of both from the Russian side and from the U.S. side. So this is that playground. This island is actually inside the circle. It is that far north, and it's right outside the front door of where the.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I was looking the wrong way.
Russia.
It is. Yeah. It's right here. So putting their radar is. I guess what I envision as their backyard too. So Russia's right here. I mean, boom. They've literally got this this area right here. This is all Russia. And by the there's an Induga base and an Andeg base. So they're like that's like right there. That's closer
we couldn't get much closer, right?
That's closer than Cuba is to us. Wow, that's incredible. So, obviously, lots of things are going on here. I think that they are worried. I think that we're in a heightened state. If you guys remember, after 2001, we used to have levels. They used to have orange, red, this and that. And they felt like it just scared people, right? Because we didn't want to let people know what level we were at. And I don't know. It seems like it was a game for the T or ists. They were like, "Oh, let's get to red today." I don't know. It says. I guess what I'm trying to say is now we don't know when we're in heightened alert. I believe right now we are in one of the highest states. And that's judging off of what Raytheon is saying, what employees that work at Raytheon are saying about their alert status, their overkill on, pumping out these missiles and all this other stuff. What is going on in Norway, the amount of alerts that people are sending us, that people are emailing, everybody's saying that they are testing more than the once a month regular, warnings. We're talking about in one day, 17 warnings, testing out each one. And just absolute craziness going on. It says, in a remote Arctic outpost, Norway keeps watch on Russia's military buildup. So all these things revolving around Norway and all these alerts. And we actually got to most of this via Norwegian citizens saying that they are basically getting them prepared for something. So this is, if Norway goes down, then that means something is going on. All right, so we're going to get to the calls here in a second. Sorry, I'm having a... sorry about that. Excuse me. Disaster warning via SMS. Wanted to pull this in here because all of the other places around the world are now doing these SMS warnings. And if you have this, I want to reach out. Well, as many, hopefully as many people see this. If you get SMS warnings in any of the states in the United States or any of the allies that we work with, please send us a screenshot of it because we want to know when this stuff is happening. Excuse me, sorry. We want to know when these things are happening. And what I want to do is I want to put together a system where I can kind of do kind of a map pin system where these things are kind of going off and see if they're normal. I think that this is something that we I think somebody should come up with a website that actually tracks the frequency of these things, because I think they would kind of let us know without letting us know by doing all of these warnings. It says a new SMS notification system. I am dying here. It says a new SMS notification system is to alert and guide Oslo residents if a serious incident affects the capital. The new system makes it possible for the local police to send SMS alert to all mobile phones within a particular area of their choice. So this is actually, this is back in 2015 when they added this, and now it went off like 15 times in one day, which nobody is covering. In fact, I have not seen a single thing on news, but I've seen evidence of it. Here's another thing that I wanted to cover. We have covered the Sky Kings in the past, and this is nothing against the runner. I know that he's probably getting a lot of people worried about his channel, but EAM.watch is now down. So thank you for somebody who pointed that out to me. Essentially what he says is that, paying rent is, basically more important than running this website, which I agree with 100%. What is weird is that was back in July. This was basically a volunteer system of people that actually monitor the Sky King system, and they verify what the Sky King messages are saying, when they happen, and how many there are. What is happening, Sky King messages are... Dex, can you explain Sky King for a second?
Yeah, so certainly what they were doing here is they were actually just recording and having people, and they heard of the Sky King messages, and they weren't actually able to decipher them. So if you're not familiar with Sky King, it's a UHF frequency. It's a very high level frequency where they transmit information. The military uses it to transmit information to high profile, whether it's planes or positions and things like that. It's all encrypted. You'll never know what it means. You'll never understand what message is going across, because only the receiver on the other end can actually decipher it. So it's not about necessarily knowing what they're saying. It's just knowing that they are talking. And for an example, the nuclear boomer type planes, they would typically operate off of messages from Sky Kings, and you would have other significant points of interest in the military that are going to operate off of a Sky King message. So EAM Watch was tracking that. They were also tracking other EAM messages as well. And you could go there and listen to them, because they are in English, but you really can't make heads or tails of them. But it was really interesting, though, is to see if there's a lot of activity. Does that correlate to something going on? Now, there's no necessarily any direct correlation to say, we can tell because of these messages there's something specific going to happen. It's more of a after the fact. You sort of go back and look, we may have heard that there was this training or some sort of drill that was running, and then maybe you find that there was some Sky Kings that could potentially correspond with that. So, but their site's down. It was a little alarming to see that they were down. According to the site, the person who runs the financial issue, he's trying to rebuild the site and get it back up. So, but hopefully that is the true reason, and it's not been taken down, so that we are not able to monitor that as the public. So I think that's the general idea about the Sky King messages. If you're not familiar with them, I'm sure you can go Google it and read up on Sky King on many different websites.
Thank you. Sorry, you guys. I'm still getting over some stuff, so just bear with me. This was scary for me, because the thought, and I know that the Sky King guys, do you guys remember, I don't know if you said it, Sky King, somebody put up a fake Sky King message saying, "Marf, silence is golden." Did you bring that up?
No, I didn't bring that up.
Okay, so essentially when you first looked at this website, it looked official, like it was the Sky King, messages. So people freaked out when they saw I was talking about the Sky Kings. Sky Kings being these it very well could be nuclear bombers heading to go bomb something, right? It was scary when I started talking about it, said there was 7 or 8 that one day, right around all the catastrophe, the planetary catastrophe that was averted, Mike Pence flying back, if you guys remember that story a month ago, with the Russian submarine. Everybody did their meetings. The Cobra, Europe did their meeting. Russia did their Ministry of Defense. We did our meeting. Basically, something went down and nobody knew what it was. Around that same time, we covered the Sky Kings. Shortly before that, somebody did Marf, Silence is Golden. And a bunch of my fans said, this is crazy. They did the government did this Sky King, and they did their messages. Marf, go. It wasn't. It was, the thing is anybody could sign up for an account and post one, but if they're fake, you've got, 10 other experts that verify it and then they just delete it, right? Because it's kind of a peer, powered thing. It's kind of like CB operators that have clubs and do stuff like that. With this, that guy actually reached out to us, or one of the people involved in the website reached out and said, this is how it works. And we actually fixed what we said about it because we wanted to be correct. We usually, if we say something that's wrong, we have always come out and corrected it, which we can, we do more often than the mainstream does. And, he'll probably say, no, I'm actually having financial constraints. But I thought, man, it would be creepy to think about. And I just want to get the idea out there. Like, what if they don't want us seeing Sky Kings right now? What if they told him, you need to shut this down temporarily? We're having a lot of stuff. There's no place to report Sky King messages. One thing that we could do, though, is if you do follow Sky King messages, if you're part of the club, if you usually go on this website and do this, maybe you report it to us via email. If there's 10 Sky King messages or 4 or 10 or whatever, let us know via email. If you're still following them and you have no place to report it, just shoot us an email. At least then we could, see what's going on. Because if there's a number of them, that's really a scary thing. The video that we did on this was Sky King messages, the last message you'll ever hear, or something like that. But we had to change the title like 10 different times. In fact, just putting Sky King in the title flagged it like 50 times. So anyways, thank you guys for being super patient. I really appreciate it. All right, let's get into this. With EAS, everything else, please let us know. Send us screenshots, tweet me, all that kind of that jazz. Okay, we're going to get the phones open here in a second. If you guys do want to help the channel and protect yourself against an EMP, I have said it many times. I believe we will have an EMP at some point. Who knows if it's going to cover the entire United States or cities. The thing is with what the events we are having right now, in fact, like as of the taping of this show, we have no idea what's going to happen next. This seems kind of like a no-brainer. If you can actually get a military-tested, a military-used device, they're working together with the DoD and Homeland Security to beef up our grid, and you can get it in your own house and actually protect yourself against an EMP or a coronal mass ejection, so a solar flare, then it's just not, it's something that every prepper needs to have. There's 6 different models that really would apply to us. There's over 40 different models, but again, you can get one of these for your vehicle, which I believe, of course, everybody should have. If you can't get to your bug out location, then what good is it? If your car doesn't start, a generator, I think, is probably one of the most important ones. If you have gas, you have power. Even if an EMP hits, you will have your generator and it will still run. In fact, these were tested up to 43 times before they gave up. literally just time after time. So they can handle multiple EMPs, all 3 phases, E1, E2, and E3. Again, and they are doing something special for our viewers only. So normally you get $50 off on each device when you use the code MARF. But when you buy 2, you get another $100 off. So right now you have the opportunity, if you get 2 devices, to get upwards of $200 off. You can go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. This is a company that's literally hand making these in Kansas, not making them in China, hand making them in Kansas. And again, they are helping our country prepare our grid for something that I believe is going to happen. It's just a matter of when and what size it ends up being. So again, go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. A commission of that goes towards helping us grow this channel. And so say if I'm sick or something, we can have somebody fill in. Wouldn't that be grand? Important notice, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone who helps the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. And then, of course, if you have not checked out Marfoogle News, my main channel, it is close to 145,000. I know it is. I can't tell because they changed the stupid subscriber count. But you should make sure to check that out because we do shorter edited films and emergency broadcasts over on that channel. In fact, that's the last video that we did over there, was kind of more of an emergency thing right before 9/3. Again, we might talk about that tomorrow's show, about the whole Seattle thing, everything else. Who knows? It doesn't have to be on the 3rd. And that's what I clarified on that show. I don't think you can ever set a date. But what I do know is that we have not had a major event happen over here in the West Coast, especially in Washington. Not one major event. All of the other states have had their bad luck. I think we are on borrowed time as far as, ISIS and all of the other different groups that do this, including domestic teas. With that being said, if you have not joined our Foogle Fam Discord, this is a big deal. So people are meeting up, some multiple times a week, some once a month, in their groups in Discord. Discord, if you've never heard of it before, it is an online thing. It's kind of like chat rooms, but you can break it up into groups. If you like Loch Ness Monster, you can go to Loch Ness Monster group. If you like T-Man, you can go into a room and talk about T-Man. But mainly it's set up so there's all 50 states, and then some states are even broken into sections because they're so big. People are meeting up locally, meeting person to person and talking prep, meeting each other, having allies. Because here's the thing, your friends and family think you are absolutely crazy for even thinking about any of these theories, right? They think you're a tinfoil hat wearing creepo. Well, guess what? The most of us that are awake, and by the way, I just want to say, things like Edward Snowden coming out, no matter what you think of him, even normies started to wake up and see, whoa, everything is a smokescreen. Everything is covered. Since September 2001, a lot of things have changed. Our country has changed. Our laws have changed. Us being watched is changed. A troll said, "Oh, Adam's on a list. How could you watch him? He's on a list." We're all on a list, buddy. Everybody is on a list at this point. I'm sure of it. That's why we need friends. We need allies. Join the Foogle Family community on Discord. Make sure to do it right now, because you might need your neighbor to come get you. After a huge Cascadia Subduction Zone 9.0 earthquake, what if nobody knows you're there? That's why I think that this is more important than the actual show itself. Meet with your friends and family. Make new friends that don't think you're crazy, that think like-minded. Plus, there's an exclusive military channel for former and current military. Salute to you. False Valor will be removed not only from Discord, but from every service that I provide. Sign up for Marfoogle alerts on marfooglenews.com. Make sure to do that right now. And of course, If you do want to help us as well, if you guys have not tried grounding, this is something I do, and it has changed my intestines. It's changed my sleep. This is something I really believe in. So if you don't understand it, go watch the Earthing movie. It's a full length feature film that just came out a few months back on the red carpet, and we're actually seeing it. It has got Amy Smart, Muriel Hemingway, Deepak Chopra, all sorts of big names, sports players that do it. The thing is most people, until they understand it, don't get it. I use the grounding mat. But there's patches, there's all sorts of other cool things. There's a universal mat that goes in front of your computer, so you're always grounded when you're on the computer. Again, inflammation is what it helps most, but once you sleep on one of these things, you will understand. That's why we're doing morning shows. I'm telling you, it is amazing. I think I've gotten sick less since I've done this. So please check it out. MarFoogleNews.com/earthing. Use the code MH though, because then you'll get free shipping anywhere in the United States. Let's see here. And then if you want to support a charity, Cars for Heroes, I believe. We are still collecting any of these shirts. The money from this is going towards a charity. We haven't decided what that charity is, but I'm decided pretty much. Somebody suggested the Cars for Heroes. Essentially, they give the money will go towards buying vehicles for veterans in need. That's what I believe it is. I want to say it's Cars for Heroes. I thought it was a great cause. I looked up. There was nothing bad about them. The last thing I did a charity for was Wounded Warriors, and a lot of people had problems with it because people said that back in the day they had some bad stuff going on. I wanted to make sure that we picked a good charity. So we're turning something negative. Trolls called us the Mafia and all this. They've called us a cult. They called AJ a cult. They call anybody who's basically has a lot of followers a cult. You guys know better than anybody. You guys have your own channels. You have your own followings. Everybody here is independent adults, and I love it. And I don't mind the name Mafia because we've taken a negative connotation on mafia and turned it into something about love. In fact, the love mob is when we send everybody over live over to somebody and show them love, subscribe, all of that. We've made people's lives change right here. Just for you being here and being part of chat, you've changed people's lives. We just had a gentleman pass away that was in our California group. He was meeting every week with other Californians, and he recently passed away. He had no family outside of the Foogle family members that were in his group. It literally affected his life. He essentially passed away with friends. That's how much we are changing. I can't say who, but we have had our first wedding out of Marfoogle Family. So that's awesome. Literally people meeting and getting married out of this group because we're all like-minded. And even when we don't agree, we can still sit in the same room. And that's what needs to happen in this country because we need to fix this divide. They want us to keep us divided. They are paying trolls to do things that divide us. Trust me, it's real and it is really happening. So please look past that. Look at yourself, look at your friends, and make love, not war, I guess. But make sure, it's consensual. Okay, I'll just say that. MarFoogleNews.com/t-shirts. Check them out. All right, we're going to get the phones open here. We are going to keep up on these 3 stories. Somebody made a comment saying that there are multiple planes. I don't know if that's true. But if something is going on, please put it in the chat. We will get to that very, very quick. We're going to get the phones started up. We're going to start the calls Adam, here. Yes.
Yeah, just give me the heads up as soon as you're ready for Deuce, the first caller.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me switch over. Okay, I just got it over on... Just got it on. You can send Deuce right on over. And let's see here. A reminder, MarfoogleNews.com is very easy to go to. I usually go over it in the beginning of the show. I will go over it after Deuce. Hello, Deuce. You were live on Marfoogle TV. What is going on?
How are you?
Good. So, Deuce, I'm going to fix your audio here. It's a little bit low. What brought you to call us today?
Well, I called probably about a month ago regarding sunspots on the guy down in southeastern New Mexico.
Okay, and then what is... Sorry here, I was just fixing a little buzz here. And what were you calling regarding today?
Regarding today, circling back to your first, the regarding what took place down in Mexico. Yeah, it just seemed very fishy to me, but I lived in Tucson for 25 years, and I worked down in Mexico, all over Mexico, quite a bit in the mining industry. But there's a group down there, they're referred to as the Zetas, which is Zetas. And they're, I probably shouldn't even be saying this, but it's pretty well known down there. They're basically U.S. military trained, basically mercenaries, but they'll bid out to the highest bidder, whether it be a cartel or whoever's against the cartel. But it's down in Mexico, it's pretty common knowledge. When we worked down there, it was if they wanted to, we dealt with mostly mining, and what would take place down there was they would kidnap people and hold them for ransom, but what the real goal was to get actual access to explosives at the mine.
Now, so a lot of people have talked about how there's been this active thing in the community versus the cartel. So, but, you know, when you say that they're trained by U.S. military, are you saying that because they're, you know, what happened there? Or?
Yeah, this goes back probably to the 80s. I mean, these guys are basically mercenaries, but they were U.S. trained to fight whoever our military. This, like I said, this goes back to probably the 80s and the 90s, and it's just carried on for quite some time. I mean, we worked south of Monterrey, Mexico, and we actually were put on lockdown and in a hotel, but they even told us there, they're like, if they want to get you and they come in force, they'll just come and get you.
Yeah, that's it. What's crazy is that, you know, the things that go on down there are straight out of a movie. You know, people actually getting broken out of jail. Like if a cartel member's in jail, everything that went down with these cartel leaders, if you look at the real stories, these guys, the power that they have in Mexican jails or down there, it's absolutely insane. If you look at some of the real stories, I mean, you're talking about in one of the most secure prisons, the guy had like granite brought in for a birthday party, like had a jacuzzi, you know, had all this stuff brought in. They pay people off to the very top. Now, as far as the U.S. border and stuff, we have actually caught some of our side helping these guys too. So, I mean, as far as training them and then having them turn against us, it's like, how many times has this happened? I can kind of relate. It's like you help somebody get their start and then they kind of turn against you. With this, we have helped certain countries. We have trained them, given the tools that, you know, we have taken years to kind of build, and then they end up using those tools to then train their guys. You know, these are militant cartel members, and we end up, saying, oh, crap, that shot us right back in the foot. So this is some scary stuff, people getting killed. But do you believe that those mothers, do you think that that was an accident that they were killed, or do you think that was a message?
Well, it's not enough information out there to really make a real guess at this point. I mean, I know there's a lot of Mormon communities up here that go down there on whether it be a missionary type thing. Who really knows? But it sounds like they had traveled down there quite often. So who knows at this point what was actually taking place? It just seemed very strange how they were traveling. I mean, that was how we would travel down there. You'd have 3 or 4 SUVs, and windows blacked out. I mean, it like you said, it's what you see in the movies, but this is very real. I mean, I've gone down there and done this. I mean, this was, and I'm a nobody. I mean, we were just in the mining world, but it's very, very real. I mean, and it's a little hairy sometimes.
Well, thank you for calling in, Deuce. I appreciate you, and I hope you call in again. Let us know what goes on in New Mexico. If there's any big news, you're our guy, okay?
Yeah, we're real close to the border, and I also want definitely everybody get on Discord. I think that it's a great way to communicate, and yeah, I think it's pretty good. And I just have to throw this in there that the Mr. Jeff Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, you just wanted to finish off with that?
You got to do that.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Have a good night. Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Bye. Deuce, do you guys know it? Okay, Dex, do you know what he's referencing, by the way?
Sorry, Adam, I was on the phone. I did not hear any of that.
Sorry, I just blasted everybody with your voice. There was something where the guy was doing an interview and he was just like normal, like, it's been 10 years of this, and Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. See you later. I'm trying to think of what it was. All right.
I do recall the headline. I'll look it up.
It was recent, like yesterday or the day before. He finished the thing with, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. All right. Up next, we have Grace Race. You are live on Marfoogle News talking about convergence, Bible prophecy.
Hi, Adam. How are you? I'm so glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. I appreciate all the well wishes from all of you guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, what I want to talk about, and I know some people may not want to hear this, but if they could just hear me out, what we are seeing is Bible prophecy unfolding. And what's happened is God has given us a vision of what's going to happen in end times, and it's written in the Bible. And he told us that we are going to see a one world government and convergence. And that's exactly what we're seeing. So if you take the topic of borders, say, why do they want no borders? Are we going to be a one world with borders? No. You take down the borders, you've got the one world. Okay, take government health care, for instance. They're wanting to do Medicare for all. Well, that's just another part of government control in the one world order or the new world order, whichever you want to call it. So then you take the Green New Deal. Well, technically, that's control, governmental control over our energy, our logistics, our food crops. I mean, everything. The Green New Deal just puts in government control over so many things. You take the one world religion now that's happening, and the Catholic Church is really kicking that off. A one world religion. There is, all kinds of talks about one world currency. And so all of this, even like climate change is not just in America, it's going global to put global restrictions on everything. And really, when you look at it with spiritual eyes and you look at it through Bible prophecy and what God told us, it's all converging. It's all converging and setting stage for that one world that at his timing, the Antichrist is going to come and take over this one world. So, really, you can sit back and you can see all these pieces of the puzzle coming together for a one world government. But the good news is, if you're also reading your Bible, you know that you're going to escape all this. If you're a Christian and you love the Lord, you're not going to be for the worst of this when that Antichrist takes over. But literally, I think what we're seeing is every piece moving into place, from the prophecies of Israel and people surrounding Israel, from everything about the U.S. kind of backing out. It's all just pieces of a big puzzle that's going to be a global stage set together for when the Antichrist comes. That's what we're seeing.
Now, by the way, you're getting a lot of positive feedback in the chat, which, by the way, I want to remind people, I just love when we have a good caller and everybody is so beautiful. Not every caller, is like that. And I hate when people, put people down. You actually have all positive responses because I think you kind of struck a chord with a lot of people. I think a lot of people are looking at the exact same thing you are looking at. And, more of you guys need to spring up and forward and create your own channels and talk about these things. Along with just a couple seconds ago, we were just talking about, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, right? Somebody said in chat that people are saying that phrase because of this guy's interview and whatever, and it's red pilling many. I think a lot of people are getting red pilled right now, and I think religion, kind of an independent religion, like the people making their own connection with God, are coming back because they see the main church, like our Pope, doing all these weird things. Does everybody approve? Do you approve of what he is doing right now?
No, but I do think it's part of the picture of what's going on for the one world global religion. I don't approve of it at all. And I don't approve. This Pope doesn't seem to be lining up with biblical scriptures, but he's lining up with what's going to happen in the end with the one world religion, I think. And a lot of people don't like that. I have a lot of Catholics in my family that don't like that. But, you line up this Pope with biblical principles and how he's taking in, he wants a one world religion, and he's holding hands with all the other religions that are against Christ. So if something's against Christ, we would call that Antichrist. He's taken these Antichrist religions on under his wing into forming one big religion. So, it's, and you're going to have people, Marf, you're going to have people that go against any kind of biblical explanation. And God warned us about that too. And he said we're going to be persecuted, which we are. He warned us about that too. So, it's all part of it. But I think you're right. A lot of the church is silent. A lot of the Bible-believing church is silent because of the persecution and because of the way things are going. They're just like, well, let's lay down and play dead. And before you know it, they're moving the wrong direction and they're leading their flock astray. So I agree. A lot of people do need to spring forth with the truth and open the eyes of people. And that's basically why I called, because all you have to do is start diving into your scriptures, dive into your end-time scriptures. There's lots of YouTube information. There's lots of Google information, online Bible courses that you can take, and then you'll say, wow, God gave us this prophecy. He gave it to us because he wishes none to perish. He does not want one of us left here with the Antichrist and the beast system that's coming. He doesn't want any of us here, but we have the choice. That's how loving he is. He's going to give us the choice on what we want. And so I think now is a great time for Christians to arrive in truth, to point out what they see, in Bible prophecy. And we're all going to have, our own take. And like some of the people in my family don't believe this. And it's not part of what they want to study. So they don't study it, and they don't look at it through the eyes of the Bible and what God has, prophesied. But, you search the scriptures yourself, and you find it, in your heart yourself, and just God has everything here for us. He's got exactly what's going to happen for us, word for word, and it's just whether you accept it or you reject it.
Well, so Grace Race, I appreciated your call. You have put the chat in a very positive place. I thank you for that again. I just want to say God bless you for by the way, we are actually not only persecuted, the things we say in public we cannot no longer say. They are passing laws to make it, they're trying to separate it all from children in any different way. The coming generation is essentially separated completely. With all these phones and apps and things like that, you would think that there would be more emphasis on teaching morals, teaching people to be right. I mean, people are just not even, kids nowadays are just growing up in the worst place. So thank you for calling. I would love for you to call in again.
Yes, thank you, Marv. Goodbye.
Well,
bye, everybody.
You can finish your statement. I wanted to hear what you said.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say, even if you look at our children now, our children are such at risk. I mean, look how long Epstein was abusing children. And this news anchor knew.
And people
it.
knew. People saw the 12-year-olds on the docks.
Knew. And nobody rose up for these little children. Who rose up for these little children? Because, you just want to be silent. You want to be politically correct, whatever. I mean, our children are at risk. They really are. You're right. It's really sad.
Well, thank you for calling. You have a great night, Grace Race. God bless you, and please call in again, okay?
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. One thing I wanted to say, too, is my daughter... So my daughter and my daughter's friends, 3 different schools, they all do these lessons at schools now where they talk about bullying and political correctness. And this, literally, part of their days is actually made. They actually shortened some of the learning time so they could teach them some of this weird stuff that she's coming home with. I'm just like, what the hell? Snafu Snaps, you were live on Marfoogle TV. What's going on?
How's it going, Marfoogle TV and fam? Man, the conversation you guys are having in the chat and your calls really linked up to what I caught the other day, and I just wanted to share it with everyone.
Hey, I just wanted to first say, awesome being positive. I just watched your video about, I didn't know anything about the WWE and the Saudi Arabia thing. If you guys don't know, Snafu did a video on how WWE, why were they in, and just real quick, why were they in Saudi Arabia? Did the prince have WWE come there for an event, or did they move the whole WWE there, or what?
Yeah, so that's the thing is last year they did a deal and with the Prince Saudi Arabia to bring WWE entertainment out there. And last year no women were allowed. This year was the first time women were allowed in the ring. A lot of stuff. I'm going to do an in-depth video on it, but short story close is Vince McMahon didn't get paid for the money. He shut the stream of the pay-per-view down out in Saudi Arabia. The prince got mad. Vince McMahon, Brock Lesnar, all the dudes who could afford private jets, Hulk Hogan and them took off and left all the crew and wrestlers, and then they detained the plane on the tarmac for hours and hours and hours. And it's a big cover-up thing. I'm about to go in depth on it, but yeah, It's a lot of big companies pulled out right when that guy got killed, the journalist. And Vince McMahon, he's a billionaire. He wants that money. He was the one company that never pulled out.
Well, yeah, of course. And so you're saying that the really, really rich guys, they hopped on their private jets, but all the rest of the wrestlers were sat there. Now, obviously, Saudi Arabia has some rules. That's pretty crazy to watch WWE, but of course, no women wrestlers because women aren't allowed to do certain things in those countries.
Well,
that's pretty
actually, this was
crazy.
This was the first event that women did wrestle. Natalia, Bret Hart's niece, and then also Lacey Evans wrestled for the first time in history in Saudi Arabia.
That's crazy. That is crazy. So it's so, you know what's really weird? You know what's really weird is these princes, these super rich people, and Kim Jong-un. It's like Kim Jong-un. It's like the things that they like, right? Kim Jong-un had Dennis Rodman come over to his house and hang out, right? Because he just liked Dennis Rodman's hair and he jumps and he's, oh, yay. I want him to come here and hang out with me and be my friend. It's like these guys, These guys are princes. They're like, yeah, can you see these guys? Like so rich, billions of dollars. They're born with, they're born pooping Ferraris with, number 10 or less on the license plate. And they want WWE out of all the things to be there. I just thought this is the weirdest crap ever.
What's funny is they're so out of touch with the Western world, other than what they know, is they actually thought Yokozuna was still alive. So they asked for Yokozuna and a couple dead legends to come to the event, because they watch the older footage. They have a lot of reruns out in those countries, I think, and that's what they get, and that's why they wanted to bring some of those people in.
Oh my God, they probably asked for what's his face too. Like, and they're on the phone like, what? He fell onto the stage. Why?
Yeah, they're like, well, Yokozuna's been dead for a while, buddy.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay, so you wanted to talk about messaging. Subliminal messaging is going up. Now, what is this picture I just loaded up?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what it is I've been covering T-Man rallies as of late whenever I get a chance to. And this image that you pulled up was sent to me by one of the Foogle Fam members and the Snafu crew members and just we the people around the world. Because what happened is we were doing a T-Man rally, and I noticed that behind the podium, all these people were wearing white shirts. And it had something to do with like the dossier, or I forgot what the shirt actually said, but it looked like a huge upside down T or a huge upside down cross of humans. And I sent you the timestamp so you could actually see what I'm talking about at the rally. And so I just knew that it was a symbolism of some sort. I said, this is weird. And I just didn't understand. It was crazy. And then when the person sent me this, oh my goodness. And I know subliminal messaging is ramping up like crazy right now. And it just was amazing to just put one and two together. And I believe this was part of the subliminal messaging that we caught.
So wait a second. And it says a logical constant denoting a false proposition in logic, often called falsum or absurdum. Are you saying that this is like F or something?
I have no clue. All I know, because like I said, I'm not going to say whether you agree with him or not agree with him or any of that. I just know when you get big events, such as football games, such as rallies, such as big things, the entities and the symbolism and things like that, there's a lot more ritualistic stuff, as people know, that go to when you get large crowds and large energy together. And what I thought was weird, I was like, why is there a big upside down T? Like, why did they align all these people? Because when you look at the footage of the rally that I sent, the timestamps, you'll see that they put all those people in a specific order on purpose, and it looks like an upside down cross. It looks like an upside down T. And so at that point, we just thought it was really weird. And we're like, okay, that's weird. We know those people were put in that position for a reason. I don't know why. And then one of the family members sent me this, and I just was like blown away, like, wow.
Well, there's a lot of things going on with the rallies and everything else. Just everything's nuts right now. Well, that's and by the way, I didn't get the footage. I was looking here to see if I could find the footage you sent.
It's in there.
Yeah,
Adam.
Okay, now I see it. Okay, now I see it. Now I got it. Let me pull this footage up for you.
And you know they place those people on purpose where they're at.
Yeah. Okay. Wait 1 second. Let me pull this up. Bam. Okay. Let's look at it. And you said this timestamp has it, so let's see.
Yeah, it'd be 129.53 to 130.
All right, guys. So we're gonna turn that down. I don't want no music.
And it's directly behind the podium, facing all the mainstream media
we're
cameras.
Just hanging out, waiting. That's interesting. Look at all these people in white shirts. Why are they all in white shirts? And then it goes up in the middle. Oh, look at this. This is kind of weird, you guys. Oh, it looks like someone's coming out.
I thought they had a symbol on their shirt with the upside down T, but they're actually formed in a symbol. That's so weird.
Yes, it was weird when
How
I
did
first
they
saw
get the
it. I didn't
seats?
think.
How did they get the seats?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They were placed in that position on purpose. They were completely placed on that position on purpose. And I don't understand it. I didn't understand at first what was going on. And then because we have such a great family, and like you said, through your Discord and the Foogle Fam and Snafu Crew Fam and we the people around the world, we all get to decipher and discern information that we receive. And one of the family members sent me the definition of what an uptack meant, that symbol, and I just was like blown away. I was like, wow.
That is so weird. Now I see it. Here's the podium. There's a line of white shirts behind, and then only 2 people in each row all the way up wearing the white shirts with nothing on it. I mean, it's obviously very on purpose. Oh, that is creepy.
It's an upside down cross or an upside down T is what we thought when we first did the live stream. But then the family member looked it up and they said it was a tick or what do you call that? What they called it, the tick mac or whatever, the uptack.
I'm like kind of blown away by that. No, that's pretty crazy. Well, thank you, Snafu, for bringing this to my attention. I appreciate you, and I will definitely talk to you later. I'm like, that's a whole nother rabbit hole I'm gonna be going down now.
It is. Well, like I said, I think the symbolism is going to increase. I did a few videos with the 9/11. I did videos with Back to the Future, and we seen a bunch of the Simpsons stuff. I think they're only going to increase because Mountain Man talks about it and stuff. But no, thank you all for what you do. And I just want to say one last thing, if that's okay, Adam.
Go ahead.
I just want to say thanks to all the creators out there. Bones, man, if you guys know who Bones is, he's a trucker. Vlad did a video, and he said we should get all our truckers and the family members, help them get up to their 1,000 mark so they could live stream on the road. Because since optics are high and things are happening, we want cameras everywhere, man, and just if we can do it. And this is just one of the things that we caught, at a rally, and I'm sure we're going to catch tons more. So thank you for what you do, helping all of us out.
Well, no problem, dude. And keep up creating. And, just like I was saying to everybody, keep positive, push each other up, do a lot of collaborations, and improve one little thing at a time. I've noticed you've gotten a lot better since you started your channel to now. That last video I watched with talking about the WWE, you're just so much better. If you guys haven't checked out Snafu Snaps, go over and subscribe. It's pretty easy to find if you know about the old Snafu Snaps. Head over, show them some love, leave a comment, and I'll end up reading them later. So make sure to love mob Snafu Snaps. We'll check at the end of the show and see if you go up any. It's so weird how they cut the subscriber numbers off or, you know, they said it was for this
Right.
and that. I think it's so they could kind of fiddle with them just a little bit. All right. Well, thank you. Have a good night, Snafu.
Thank you so much.
All right. God bless you, man. Bye-bye.
God bless you.
All right. Let's see here. All right. Up next, we have Cosmo. Cosmo, you are live on Marfoogle TV. What is going on?
Not much, Marf. How you doing today?
Good. So it says here that you wanted to talk about the hottest October, 2005 through 17, 1/3 of the insect population drop. What the heck's up with that? Calling from Michigan, Cosmo.
Well, first and foremost, I did want to say thank you very much for allowing me to call again. It was a little embarrassing, the twitchy mess I became. I did eat some food, got my blood sugar level. It's not a game, folks. Just wanted to remind everybody, have a snack when you're hungry. You're not the same. Sorry about that last time. But yeah, it's a pretty mixed bag of perception due to how many various realms of weather pattern we're having across such a widespread area, like our entire nation. Right, we have several different biomes of temperature and pressure in animals and plants that all create their own symbiotic expressions, and since each of them are being affected so differently by all of the various things we got going on so many different levels, it's just hard to keep up with how many different things are happening. In regards to the warmest October we've had so far, I mean, I'm living in Michigan, so that's up in the air. Really, every October kind of feels like the same October. It's back and forth every day, 10 minutes later. But I have noticed over 15 years plus that the bug migrational patterns have been changing as well as the birds. And I mean, animals rely on our natural magnetic ley lines to navigate their own migrational patterns, how they return to nesting areas or feeding zones during certain months or seasons. It's like an intuition, so they're not even thinking about it. They're just going with a feeling that is in their genetic sequence. And some of the biggest signs, you know, Canadian geese out here flying east and west instead of north and south. So there's a funny little reminder. But there's been various reports of.
So you are right about one thing. So not many people have covered it yet. They are now discovering that birds are getting lost. I think that at some point they're going to have to tell us something is wrong with our Earth or something is wrong with the magnetic poles. They're going to, like, the thing is, you know, they don't know how fast they are going to shift. Obviously it's moved faster and faster. There's some weird things going on. Maybe just that little shift, because it was faster than normal, screwed up their natural, you know, adjustments, right? You would think if it's always happening, they would naturally adjust at a certain rate, but now it happened faster. Maybe it screwed them up. I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, I also can't help but wonder if humans aren't having a lot to do with that electromagnetic fluctuation, like creating the error as well, simply because I've heard a couple off the record conversations come out of a particular individual who was a part of some military projects when he was doing his time. And he made mention to the bizarre, because I was talking to another friend of mine in front of him about the whales getting washed up in Cuba and South American shores, and just like some of the weird, bizarre, like sonic weaponry testing that the Navy was being blamed for, and they had to come out and have a PSA, or we're not doing that. We can't make accusations like that now. But I was just talking to a friend of mine, you know, over a drink about it, and this guy comes up and basically tells me, no, that's going on. I was a part of the testing of several of those different things, and like it actually like claimed responsibility for some of the Minnesota bird deaths because of experimental electromagnetic pulse weapons that had been released or used and experimented with, and that these things literally just shut down the electrical synaptical activity inside of cells.
So as far as like EMP and things like that, I don't think people realize that we are in the technological age. Everything is advancing. The newest attacks will not be. They will be far more advanced. Like,
oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
it's not going to be a shooting.
Yeah.
It's going to be, they're going to take out power and make us kill ourselves. Like, that's way more messed up.
It's going to be like atomics. I can't even believe it's going to be atomics or like nuclear for sure. Because first of all, 1958 called. It wants its existential threat back. You know, like there's way more things we have to pay attention to instead of, you know, the old commie scare, the red threat menace coming over the seas, coming to take off. Come on, man. Like this is 2 generations ago. My bad.
I get you. Well,
and it just, like
Cosmo,
go ahead.
I appreciate you calling in. And is there one more thing that you wanted to say before you go?
Yeah, love your bugs, man.
Oh,
do it.
Yeah,
lobster.
Tammy Worrell. By the way, you can go on right after this. Tammy Farrell says, yes, I have seen more insects or different insects than I've ever seen before. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing because yes, I've seen insects in South Carolina that I've never seen before here. I wanted to say a comment about that. What you were saying. I have seen bugs, specifically these weird green bugs. It was almost like what do you call it? The what effect? The Mandela effect. Like all of a sudden these new bugs appeared, and everybody's like, "Oh, they've been around forever." I'm like, I didn't remember them. Have you seen bugs that you have never seen before?
Well, since I was a little kid, these were some of the first things I became fascinated with. So I've always been intrigued. I was reading encyclopedias far beyond my level and just trying to absorb as much of that as I could. So when I started seeing unfamiliar bugs to my normal territory, I recognize that, but hold on, you're not from around here. So then I look it up, and you're from like you're from like Texas.
So the bugs are getting lost.
Well, I wouldn't say lost. I'd call it a different migrational period. They're moving to where they know they're going to be able to attempt success in life. And that pattern seems to be pushing everybody's migrational pathway northeast. So like if you're seeing something from outside of your territory, like I would check south, honestly.
Well, I think
like,
it's
looking. Yeah.
I think it's pretty official.
It's
what
weird.
You said, a lot of people connected with, because people are saying all over chat that they've seen birds that they've never seen before and insects that they've never seen before. Stephen Rebel says the birds are getting lost due to magnetic pole migration. The humpback whale migration is affected also. So all these things are being affected. And I think you're right. You know, insects, all these things are being affected. Well, thank you for your call, Cosmo. Please call in again.
Get some pictures. Yeah, get some pictures, seriously, because if you guys get them, we'll try to ID them. We'll do this, put it together like a puzzle. See where these things are coming from.
Here's what I say, too. Just like the projects that I want to start, I hope that you guys, we had a few people that used to call in that started websites surrounding kind of information and the truth. You guys, if you have time on your hands, you know, start a project. If somebody else isn't doing it, start it. Get a website going where we can ID bugs, and I'll help you push it. So thank you so much, Cosmo. You have a great night. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. God bless you.
Blessed.
All right. Yeah, like I said, I mean, if we could figure out for sure, like these aren't supposed to be here. Like it's weird. I didn't even think of birds. I saw this weird yellowish red bird that I've never seen in my life. In Washington, at least. And I looked it up, and it's a Idaho bird. It's not called an Idaho bird. It was a bird that's like Idaho and way over. I thought that was so weird. All right, you are live on Marfoogle TV. The Q Cat, what's going on?
Hey, Marfoogle, man. Listening a long time. First time caller. How we doing today?
1 second. Let me fix the sound real quick. Something's going on here.
Yeah, no. Hang on. No, it's not you. It's probably me. Hang on. Let me take it off my Bluetooth. Hang on. That should be 1,000 times better right there.
That is better. I don't think the buzzing was you, but the sound was definitely low.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
No, thank you. Okay, so let's see here. Q-Cat, you wanted to call about the military airport and the strange avionics. Calling from South Carolina. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Well, I basically work out on a large airport, right? And over the past 3 weeks to a month, I've seen a lot of weird aviation come in. And what I mean by weird aviation is we have seen a lot of older aircraft. And when I say older, I'm talking about pre-avionics, like pre-glass cockpit, you know, where these guys are flying by actual instruments and not by a gauge. Okay. I've seen aircraft as old as old tail draggers from, you know, I mean, back from like the 40s. Okay. So there's some really old aircraft flying around. My coworker, I just happened to be standing outside and I'm looking at this plane take off and I'm like, what is that? And he goes, that's a P3. I said, how do you know that? And he goes, I was a crew chief on it. And I'm like, okay, you know, and his words were, you know, why is that flying? They were decommissioned years ago. Okay. So the main purpose of the call is, you know, along with AWACS and, you know, all the Ospreys and all the other fun stuff that flies around, makes a bunch of noise, we've got really old planes flying around that should not be in service, you know? And, you know, my question is always,
so wait,
been,
you're
you know,
like kind of like they, T-Man, he was going to retire the Lincoln and he said, no, we're going to need it. Do you think it might be kind of related to, we need all the planes, we need all the things we got? Like, don't retire them. We might need them.
You know what, Marf? Honestly, it's kind of becoming a thing in my mind where if you're flying planes around that still deal in, you know, true vacuum gauges, you know, you're looking at a instance where you are retraining your pilots to fly with older instruments that don't require power.
So EMP.
Okay.
You're thinking EMP.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's definitely looking a lot more like that, because when I tell you World War II aircraft has landed here, you know, at first it's kind of cool. But then when you keep seeing it and they're doing touch and goes and training and things of that nature, yeah, it kind of makes you scratch your head. And it's not like this is just, you know, Monday they come and you don't see them for another couple of weeks. Now, these guys are out here about 4 or 5 times a week flying around.
Yeah, no, that's actually that's a little concerning, because one of the politicians that was kind of pushing the improving our grid said that we were at risk, said that we do not have a proper Air Force, which is our main seniority in the air. I think I'm saying that right.
Right.
If we have an EMP or a solar flare, that means any country with older technology will technically have their hands up on us, including China or Russia, because they have crappier planes, but not all of them are you know, so dependent on the networks and the power and all of the electricity.
Right. Now, here's something that'll mess with your head. You know, I used to see Ospreys basically every day of the week, you know, 5 or 6 times a day. These guys that land, fuel up, things of that nature. I haven't seen an Osprey in about 3 weeks. So, you know, now what I have seen a lot of are the gunships. And these guys fly around loaded, which I find a bit concerning, because you're over a major city. You know, why are you guys flying around loaded? You know, I seem to have an issue with that. The fighter jets, sometimes they fly loaded, sometimes they don't. You know, I don't have any contact with people that are, you know, active with this particular air wing. I would love to make contact with somebody, but, you know, and I know the difference between a tip tank and a missile. Okay, they're very clearly defined as to what they are, and between where I'm standing at now and the runway, I can measure it in yards. Okay, this isn't, you know, quarter mile, eighth of a mile. Now I can measure it in yards, so I can clearly make out clear features and things of that nature. So, you know, there's there's a lot to be said. Why it's happening here in South Carolina, I don't know, but I just wanted to bring it up to other people's attention that it's kind of weird.
No, that's super weird. Well, I appreciate your call, QCat. Is there one more thing that you wanted to say before you go?
Nah, man, that's it basically. So,
man, I will say this. I want to make a call to everybody. If you are seeing a plethora, and I'm not talking about for an air show, if you see a plethora of them testing old planes that should be decommissioned, take photos, pop a picture up. No, now, of course, don't do anything like jump over fences or anything like that. Just if you see it, take a photo or a video of it and let us know. Is it something 1940s like a hobbyist, or is it that the entire country is preparing for something far worse? Because I think we would know too. They would pull stuff out of museums. You know that, right? They would actually pull old TV if we had to.
Just to add a little bit of extra credibility to that, the older aircraft, they are painted in the old war scheme, but they have the U.S. Air Force emblem on the tails. So it's not like this is privately owned, because if it was privately owned, I don't think you're allowed to put that particular emblem on there. So just a thought.
So older paint, but newer logo.
Correct.
That's
correct.
Creepy. Yeah, you're not allowed. Well, I don't know the exact laws, but I've actually heard of that when I went to the Seattle Museum of Flight. All right. Well, thank you, QCat. I hope you keep us updated and send me videos, man. Tweet me on the twit and get me those videos. Good. Okay, cool. Thank you. Have a good night.
All right. You too, man. Thank you.
All right. Parasylum Magic, thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Allison White, thank you so much. I appreciate all of the love that people have been shown today. Says, hope you get better soon. God bless. If you guys if you're at this point in the show, you're either watching live or you're watching the replay. And sorry about earlier. I apologize. Tanya Wood, love you and stay safe. I appreciate that. MG Toe Forever. Hey, you didn't. I don't know if you tried to call in. I haven't heard from you lately. Call in tomorrow, man. I use Streamlabs to go live on my phone without 1,000. That's amazing, MG. What he's saying is, so they made a rule where you could not go live unless you had 1,000 subscribers on your phone. He says he went around that by going live on Streamlabs, the app. I actually thought about that. I saw somebody on Streamlabs app with 400. I was like, how did they do that? Poor Man's Poison. Adam, thank you for opening people's eyes. Well, thank you for, I guess, having open eyes to watch. I mean, we're just trying to work out things like everybody else. Tiffany G, please check out Buddy Webb. Much love, Foogle Fam. Thank you. We will. Frank the Tank says, thanks for providing a place to get the real scoop. Appreciate that. Man, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Mo and Hose says, Foogle Fam for the win. Great to see you all. Susan Donahue, welcome. I didn't get my normal put on your full armor of God message. I'm actually kind of sad. Kotzenborough, thank you so much. Kenneth H. Adam Dex, a lot of the Cali fires are homeless camps getting out of control. Also, T groups setting fires is nothing new. Hashtag cheap and easy. Totally right, Kenneth. I don't know if you're still around. Kenneth H. is one of my oldest subscribers. I think he was number 5. Kenneth, you are awesome. Great point. All countries are in QE now. This was never high since the financial crisis of 2008. Why would the central banks do this if everything is all right? Katzenborough, that's a great point. That's very odd. Conquest, I was just watching your video the other day. Again, it popped up in my suggested, and I was like, thank you so much. Again, I remember your video. I don't forget that kind of stuff. When, if you guys want to help, make a playlist of Marfoogle News. Label it Marfoogle News playlist. actually, pick out a couple episodes, put it in there, your favorite episodes, and make a playlist. They show up in search. Conquest, thank you for making your video. It's always good to have good things pop up. Jania Spikes, Carrot Bars Gold Currency is my option for emergency. Carrot Bars Gold Currency is my option. I look at the some of the things they sell, like the big just chunks of gold. It's crazy how much gold is. I just wish I would have got gold back when I was a teenager. I actually saved my money and I would used to buy coins and stuff. I should have bought gold. It was like $400 an ounce. Now it's like $1,500. Colleen Luce Wilson, glad to see you doing better. Thank you, Colleen. I appreciate that. Can't tell you guys how much I appreciate all of you. Michael Mangiavillano. Michelle Mangiavillano. Michelle Mangiavillano. I was trying to say it right. I'm part Italian. I should be able to. Thank you again. I appreciate it. Stargazer, I appreciate it. I hope I did not miss anybody. Yvette Berry, thank you, Marf, for all you do. Glad you're back. Stay healthy. Sweet Jenna, not necessary at all. Thank you so much. Glad you are feeling better, Marf. Love Sweet Jenna and the Dawn. We got a gift coming for Violet, Sweet Truth. Straight out of Stockton. Has subscribed. Welcome to the channel. Blue Devil, welcome to the channel. Prepper Ilea, thank you again. I appreciate you. Casey Shelton, thank you. Captain Kirk, thank you. Jana Mania, hey Adam and fam, love, prayers to all, never give up, stand strong in Jesus. Lisa Crane, Mike Sell, Michigan. Okay, just wanted to make sure I got everybody. I've been having problems with OBS not telling me. Giselle Krippner, thank you for joining the channel. Stacy Smith Arnold, Kadeem Jima, Harry74, John Moeller, thank you guys for all joining the channel. If you're watching the replay of this and it is not live, I will still shout you out if you subscribe. You just watch. I might miss you, but I probably won't. Probably will. Dex, what do you have to say about the calls here?
Wow, that was great. The P3s, the QCat they were actually being decommissioned from the Navy, which was the biggest owner of them, starting back in 2013. So to see those still in action is kind of interesting. I mean, I'm not fully up to speed on everything, but just looked that up while I was listening to the caller, and that's pretty interesting.
It freaks me out that they're doing this. Not only with that, do you remember about a month and a half ago, the military guy saying that they are bringing out all of the old school engines for the military? They're taking a lot of their Jeeps and stuff.
Oh yeah.
What does that say?
It's interesting that I don't know. I don't know why they want to do that. Is it EMP? Is it just we need more equipment? It's a very interesting question to be asking.
Well, kind of, you know how I said, it doesn't matter if you have the most advanced jet in the world. What if 12 slightly crappier jets are coming at it? You can't fight all 12 jets. The one thing I was saying about China is where they lack in technology, they could make up for in quantity. If there's 2,000 jets heading at 200 of the best jets in the world, are 200 jets still going to win? Maybe not. There's only, it's 5 against 1. Is it going to be a fair fight? The best fighter in the world, if there's 10 guys coming at him, we've seen some epic videos of 3 or 4 guys going down, but 10, it's not the movies. And neither will conflict. So I don't know. Dex, thank you for your service.
Real quick. Yeah, absolutely. Real quick update on the breaking news. So apparently the hijack issue in Amsterdam is resolved, and it was resolved because it never actually happened. What appeared to happen was the pilot squawked off the communication for signal for a hijacking. He was doing it to teach the intern, and he didn't realize, I guess, that he was actually. Oh my
gosh! So
the airline has come out and apologized.
Oh no! But what about Italy? That's not.
Yeah, Italy is that was resolved after about 20 minutes. They did come in. There was a suspicious package. They brought in the Boomer Squad, who came in and took care of the package, and then they reopened the airport. So that's been resolved.
Okay, what about the anthrax?
Yeah, anthrax is still going on. They actually washed down and were decontaminating the train based on the white powder.
Okay, so first off, something's going on here. This is way too much paranoia for one day. That's just weird.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you, Dex, or a cover-up.
Absolutely.
Or a cover-up.
Yeah. Could be.
Well,
God bless everybody.
Push
Thank
the
you.
button. Jeez. All right. Thank you, Dex. Love you. Be safe. Now it is officially time for me to make a fool out of myself. It's called a shoutro. If you stick around in the chat, I essentially freestyle rap at the same time as making myself look like an idiot. So, if you want to stick around, it's where I also go over any of the viewer channels that we went through, and we try to get them to 1,000. If they're already there, we try to get them up a little bit higher. Let's push everybody up. Make sure to join our groups. Please be safe. Consider this. We're not always serious here, but the topics we're talking about are very serious. So please get your stuff together, get your prep going, and make sure to not think of these things as taboo. Look at them logically, think it out a million times. That's what military and everyone else does. That's why they are so prepared. We should not depend on somebody else to protect us against the bad guy. With that being said, I think that all of you should definitely head over to Marfoogle News. We take the time before every single show to actually add in every article that we covered here today, even if it was a suggested tweet, is on our website. So this is all stuff we have to do before we even start this show. If you go to that thumbnail, which is this thumbnail, you will actually see that we have added all of these articles. You click on this down below, you will see that everything is down below, or you can even watch it 5 years later. It doesn't matter. It will be there. And then we did not cover the weird. If you want to go into some of the weirder stories we found, it's down below. Right here. Boomya, marfooglenews.com. Much love. Single boomerang. Wangatang tang. Killer rang it, time it, and tell a canna get the music going. Essentially, and never did once ever without Mother May I. Be safe, be prepared, and marf out. Be safe, marf out. Be safe and marf out. Thank you, Dirty Lapdog, for hanging. Thank you, Deborah Pippin, for wanging. And hey, Marfoogle, thank you for killing it. With Master Foda, Mo-O, and Angel Cotita, Zoyuva, and Mr. Tia. Got my niche with my Juanita. Got my rusty bumper and my ways easer. I really want my Melissa guy. Galagos to hang out by the side. JT Waters with the star and the Cameron Reed. THC and the T dealer. That's the Mrs. Cat or the KAT with the Susan Misser at that. My voice is of a race. I'm about to go back and now paste on B all over Cindy Hockett. Thank you for sticking Amy Stone in my pocket. JJ Young Holes. I got my JJ Young Bloods, Hypocrite Houses, White HVH. Rap my name. Rap my name.
me. JSO 78, hang with me. Raise awareness, hang with me. Randy no man with that bow tie. Coming back round and yeah, I change up. Minute in now with the chest cat. Marky, Sparky, and Alt Newser. RE55 and a piece of boozer. I want the Lori Ellie with the Murphy's Law and everybody getting jelly about the Donna Kent. And it's just a deluxe. Ooh, Tracy the fam, don't give up.
I hope all of you rock out every day of your life. This has been a Marfoogle News production.
I've got to go back rocking all the way home. I've got to live my life like I've got to get my bone. I dispose of that in the Jennifer Rain. Gonna go and it's a no-brainer. Soccer girl with a 7-7. Got that chicken champion tight. Got that ass, gotta bring her back now. Everybody fantastic. And we got the old rider man that comes in and down. A Carolyn Low is gonna sound. Panhandle Prepper, Alaska Prepper, a Carol Schaefer. Bring it down now.
Guitar solo. And remember, you can go to marfooglenews.com to look back at the episode at any time. Make sure to do so right after the show.
I see the boys. They look like me. I've got sweet Jenna and able body. I bring my MP and my muffled skull. Got my Annalyn, my Annalyn shawl. I've got my pal, my best friend Smoker Mountain Guy. I've got my Ivor roaming off, and now we all now. I've got to bring that Tiffany G, that Mrs. Cat, that KIT. Got my Murphy's Law and my Woody's mom hanging out. Janice Price, oh so nice. Got the Air Queen Prepper. How many Peter Cruz and Doo-Doo, Zubia and CJ Blaze, access to Christ and 2 fun days. I've gotta bring me with the boys, I've heard it down, all the way back down. He calls me his own, Skywatcher 83, got a God bless with the main man in the MAE. Hey, Crazy Kelly, you haven't called in days. What's up with that? Miss Ashley Murray, I just might. I'll play it again, but just once for Missy Ashley Murray.
Almost pushed the wrong button. You would have heard the wrong Marf. Got that Mike Riley. Got that Eagle Snarf. Got that Lisa on Paul. Gotta go back Paul. Paul is a good guy. Never see it in chat. It's a name that's just not at average. Paul. What's up, Paul? Hi, Paul. I'm appalled. Road to prison. Taylor MCO. Keystone 78. Said it twice, what the hell? That's not the one, kid. Just stupid, that boy. I tell you, man. Get down, getting on that, damn boy. Probably lives in the trailer. No offense.
Never heard this one before. It's a little bit softer. It's just a little bit softer. But I don't know if that's okay. I just want my friend to be named Gina. Did you say Gina? No, I said Lena. Lorena? And maybe Randy. Did you say you're Randy? No, I said Randy. Skywatcher 83. You can't see me. Tiffany. Are you Tiffany G? Sassy lass, got some class. Tiffany Harmon, they be fighting. Shan and Oscar Anderson. Or maybe it's Anderson. Bring it right back down. You gotta hear the sound of the love that we give. It's Marfoogle love. Joe Lanta Malik and that Diane Fleming. Baby for it, you know it stinks. John Nelson, that's what you think. RE55, bringing it right back with life. It's 1:25 p.m. Not a BM. Hey, Alpha Mega. Hey, R-Jax. Why you doing all the damn attacks? Kelly B, it's okay. We will start over again. Yep, that's right, Kelly B, you're light. We've got to start all over again. Let's see here. What's up, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Kelly B was late today, so apparently we are starting over. Dex, are you still there? We've got to start over. Kelly B was late.
I am.
Great. Did you have things that were important to do today?
I guess we could just do it all over one more time.
Okay. This is for Kelly B. Just kidding. Make sure to go stop by Snafu Snaps, all of our other folks in here that just have a great, great time every single day, every single night. It's just that amazing. And when you get done here, make sure to go check out one of the Foogle Family members. They're all super, 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 super amazing. Hey. Thank you guys for coming to the show. Thank you, Petra Cruz, for being you. Team Arizona, thank you for being such a G. Thank you for being with me. The Chester Deluxe and the rest of these guys, just that smoky man guy, just playing and hanging out with the MG talk forever going out. And we know that you know that music doesn't have to be with the rhythm, and you gotta see, hey, you gotta do everything Emperor Rex tells you to. Hey, Ashley Marie's got say that KK, but Lord, everybody wants that THC jar. Little Foogle gotta go real, real hard. I'm better than ever, them mumble rappers. Bring it right back if you got that DJ line. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Terry, right? Do you wanna see afterwards? I just wanna go say mumble rappers. Hey there, go hanging out with your Parker. Gonna bring it right back now. I got a Parker. This is a car and I go take it to the carport. I'm about to eat on. I'm mumbling. I'm gonna make them money. On just me. I can go home and all these guys are making 30 minutes something. I just wanna go home. I'm 20. I've got tattoos on my face and I just want that money. I'm a mama rapper, I just love the Marfoogle family. Just for the Marfoogle family. Please let me go home. Have a good night, guys. I just see you now. You come back now. You listening to Marf 104.5, man. You know, hey. You guys ought to be kicking it out, you know. Hey, the Epstein, that guy, you know, yeah, he did not kill himself. Yeah. We just ended with that. Epstein never killed himself, man. If he didn't kill himself, going back and bring him out. Or you running for your help. Better stay on the island. Or there's so much in my heart. It's some money on the game. Or you gotta go with that Stephen Diaz. A positive channel. Got that young lad. Yes, man.
last night, bringing a rain tonight. Just got a locks and a team manners on. Gonna bring a Riley with the Valor run. Oh, you start the man, the fancy really wanna go and we eat that dim sum. Got a party with the Marquis back in like Mark Benny on a court and away. Got that James bed, got that EMF now. Oh yes, now we go down with the 777 like keeper. I think that's my sniper. With that box back 22. Gotta bring with the X, Y, and pepper and the La Homa garbage. Got that in the Snyder, got that garbage. Mario Lopez, is it actually you? Hey, Patrick Bowman, don't be you now. Hey, Christina Patwin. If you smoke, your pot wins. JM, and the never snaps. Gotta bring it right back, and you know that it bad. Lady Liberty speaks, man. And she always sounds like a dude. Not the nickname, no. The one in chat is totally fine. Hey! Sean! Or Shan! Don't know how to say your name, man. Nah, for the real song, man. You have a good night, be safe, be prepared, and Marf out, man. 105.5 Marf, man, now. Yeah.
Sam, I'm feeling free, the dolphin in the sea, rolling in the waves, floating with the breeze. Got my sunny shades on, play my favorite song. Thankful for the charm, life rocking in my phone. I am looking for attention, I don't need the extra tension, cause I'm in the fourth dimension. Trapeze is high in suspension. Now don't bother with the haters, cause they all be imitators. Real life manipulators, get it back up and see you later. I like me for me, I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me, I am who I wanna be. Don't need no apologies, just peace and serenity. No to the jealousy, Wonder Woman identity. I like me for me, I like me for me. Head over heels, you know how that shit feels. You think it's out of space, but I know that it is real. Sipping Chapo Chico, La Coco Puerto Rico. Liquor dance, waterfall, anywhere that we go. I am looking for attention, I don't need the extra tension, cause I'm in the fourth dimension. Trapeze high in suspension. Now don't bother with the haters, cause they all be imitators. Real life manipulators, get it back up and see you later. I like me for me, I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me, I am who I wanna be. Don't need no apologies, just peace and serenity. No to the jealousy, Wonder Woman identity. I like me for me, I like me for me. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Gotta prove it to myself and nobody else. 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 I like me for me, I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me, I am who I wanna be. I like me for me,
Hey. When you know it. Ha! On the 3OD. With the All Souls Matter 333. I've got that Michael Bonfigliaio. I'm about to hit that Willow Dragon. Got the barrier. Got the rest. Got everyone. All the chicks. Crazy Kelly, Texas. Gotta eat it red, man. Now we gotta get that wreck time in. Hey, London. Hey, London. Hey, London. Never wanna be a stranger. Amazing. Amazing. Gotta break that terror Only wanna be free. Amanda Wormo, CJ Blaze. Got that bit, what if this is my screen name? Alright, I gotta hit it. We'll change in a minute. I'm about to bring it like never get it. Don't forget it. Get it for Satan. Pastor, bring it right back like Charles Kelbass. About to eat it. Now bring it, Roger Cunningham. Style with the E and bring it right back now. All Souls Matter with the 333. Got the Petra A and the Nickel E. I got the E at the end of the Hellstock lane. And then the lane M hits that Jeep like brain. Gotta get the Ashley Marie for me. About to bring it with the Mo Carrot Rick. Gotta see that big capital T. With the Dillard at the end with the J and N. Terry Parker with the Carrie Ray. Got it lit away, now you gotta say it her way. Riley, Valerie, and Elisa D plus ID. And I bring it like the melody. Web on the mobile, like a spider web. Coming up from the north and the south, and they all migrating cause of man. Cause they got them magnetics doing that. King of South Jackson, bringing it out. And we know we on farming, sharing it with the yarn, bro. The King of South Jackson, bringing it hard, bro. 10-foot caster, casting low, and I'm about to be like the Marfooglios. Marfooglios, soon go, oh yoys. About to bring it back, don't be playing with my toys. Lady, Yolanda, why you wonder? Now we playing under the bridge like dumb trolls, bring it. Willow Dragon E. Steve G. bring 7-7 like keep bringing it like Jeffrey DeRose. Now you gotta go in the rows. Like ducks, gotta get them all in the rows. Bring it right back, and you know Jesus rose. For the same thing that we did, now we on our toes. Waiting for him to come back. Mama Tommy gonna bring it right back. Courage the nigga, bringing a binger. Oh, got a conquest, bring it on, now we get bigger.